Well, Andy, back from the bye, what have you reflected on? What have you guys sort of gone to work on to try and get things back going again?
Well, similar to what we'd been doing for a month prior to that, but we got a week to freshen up, so both mentally and physically, and sort of reset ourselves for the back half of the year. And key now for us is really looking to finish strong. Have that momentum going into the latter part of the season and get back to our best footy.
Is it fair to say you know what's been going on, but you haven't been able to fix it? Is that and now it's about trying to make it actually happen in games?
Yeah, we're constantly reviewing and adjusting and moulding our game, and we understand week to week on what's not working for us. There's areas of our games that after 4 rounds we knew we had to fix and we had to adjust, and we did that. Other things pop up at times and you continually work through it. So it's not like you get to a mid-season review and start looking at the season. We've done that right the way through. So this is really a chance for us to physically and mentally freshen ourselves up, and then maybe adjust and have a small chat around what does the second half of this season give us a chance to do, and that is to get back to our best and finish really strong. And as I mentioned before, then that momentum can become really important for us.
What does that look like from a selection perspective this week?
What does that look like from
a selection perspective?
Well, as per normal, we'll pick a side that we feel one is going to help us win the game of footy, and two, we'll pick it on form of players we believe will help us do that. So nothing changes in that space. This year we've been forced to explore a lot more players than maybe some other clubs, although there's a lot of clubs that have been forced to do that this year through injury. And but we've also had a couple. Billy Dowling coming in was a real positive for us, and from a debut point of view, there's a high chance we'll probably look at a few more of those over the latter part of the season.
What do you have to say from Tex the rest of the week?
He's it's slightly modified week for him, but we've got to see that he's ready to go, and he has to know that too in himself. But we'll make that call come captain's run on Friday, and we'll have to see if we get through that captain's run that he pulls up well on Saturday. But we're pretty confident that he's going to be okay. He's done a ton of work to get himself right, and we've been very deliberate with that. We didn't want to rush it. He wants to go out and perform. He wants to make the side better. So he's made some decisions over the last few weeks for the team. He'll do that again this week, but we're pretty confident that he'll play.
Is there a mistake made with his management with his back in the first instance when he had suffered the reoccurrence for him to this now ongoing? Was there a mistake made?
He's an experienced player coming to the latter part of his career, and you have challenges with that. It becomes tougher to get yourself up week to week and play, every game throughout the season. We'll continue to look at that. When can we give him a spell? This one's an acute back spasm that he's had that's pretty hard to stop. It's now the management of that, making sure that we've got him in the right space to be able to perform. Riley's done everything we've asked of him to this point, so everything going well today, and then later in the week he'll play this weekend at SANFL level. We feel it's really important that he gets back and gets some footy under his belt. He's ticked every box. He's ultimate pro when it comes to his rehab, and that's why he's in a good position at the moment. So he'll train today, and from a coaching point of view, you just have your fingers crossed that he goes well and he comes in confident and plays some good footy at the lower level.
How tempted were you to bring him straight into the AFL?
Oh no! Again, back to the way we pick the team. It's about what we feel is best for the team to win the game of footy. Now, you've got to be realistic about guys that haven't played football for a long period of time about what that's going to look like. There's a different fitness than running around an oval, with no contact, than what there is actually in a game, and the energy that's spent, even just getting yourself up for a game of footy. It's underestimated what that actually takes, and so we won't take a risk in that space.
I know it was a long time ago now, but that Swans game, there were some good signs, but also probably some players were challenged at times. Do you look at making some more changes again to the side, or is it now get back from the bye and back those guys in once again?
Yeah, by no means will we go in exactly the same as we were in the last game. We will adjust things to make the side as strong as we can to go up against the Giants. It doesn't mean it'll be wholesale changes. There was some footy in amongst that game where we were really back to the way we want to play. Unfortunately, it was just a team that ran over us and showed they did it again the next week. Against our opposition. So we know that there are challenges. We know we're going to have to look at our squad, what's best for the group. We'll see how training goes today, but I think there'll be at least one or two.
Tim Silvers has been at pains to say this mini review he's doing was standard as he would do in the middle of the year, but your conversations with him, what have they been like? Has he come to you offering extra resources or things they can help you for the rest of the year?
Yeah, Tim does that weekly, so it's nothing new. We review as usual, as I mentioned before. We're very much on top of what needs to be done, but Tim's always had that support there for me and for us as a footy department. So our conversations this week are the same as what we had 2 or 3 weeks ago. And we have those weekly on a Monday where we get together and talk through footy. Obviously there's a fair bit of noise around at the moment about where we're at, and that's understandable because we're, like our supporters, they're frustrated, so too are we that we're not getting results we're after. But we know we're not far away.
Still fair, a couple of days ago, scrutiny for the two teams down in Adelaide is a bit overblown and maybe make it seem worse than it actually is. How do you, walking in your shoes in the past month or so, how do you feel about that?
I love our state. I love how passionate we are about footy. I grew up here, so I'm a little biased. But I spent enough time away to see it from afar. It's something that I think it's respected by other states, the fact that we're so passionate about our footy. And at the moment, the reason why there's so much frustration out there is because of that passion. And we don't want to lose that. We love that our supporters come out here and they want to watch us perform. And when we're not, the last thing we want is for them to walk away, pleased that we're not getting results. It just makes us dig in deeper, and we want to perform for them so they get reward as well.
So there's a school of thought that you should just play the kids now, look towards next year, finals and all, from the fan base. It's not that simple though, so can you just explain the rationale of how you balance up a longer term view with what you want to get out of the rest of this season?
Again, when we talk about playing the kids, I think we've got 4 left on our list that we can bring in. And so sometimes that can be the noise, is that we're not playing the kids. I think we're the youngest team in the competition the last few weeks. So we are playing the kids, and we will play the guys we think deserve to come into the team and are going to make us better. We're going to bring a guy in for a debut. We want to make sure he's ready to play the game of footy. We're not just bringing him in to play a young kid. That's not going to make the player better. That's not going to help the team get better. It's not going to improve our results. And we're looking both short-term, long-term, medium-term. We make decisions for a reason. In saying that, we do have a couple of guys that are now knocking on the door, and when you're not performing and it's 3 losses in a row, which we've had, there's a possibility that we're going to make a change in that space and say, well, maybe it is time for a young guy to get that chance.
You happy with the Ruck situation?
We've got options there. Strawn's played the last few, and the weekend he's up against one of the best ruckmen in the competition. Grundy's proven to be that, and it was a challenge. And so that's an area that we'll keep looking at. Like all other areas, it's probably one that gets highlighted a lot more because it is such an important position, and we understand that. I thought Strawny started the game really well, and it was just a really high quality player that got across, got over him over the 4 quarters. But we will have a look at that, and obviously Rob's gone back and tried to work on a couple of areas at SNFL level, and if he puts his hand up, says, hey, I'm ready again, then we'll have to make a decision.
Has he done that at SNFL?
Rob's done what we've asked of him, both the way he's approached it, the way he's gone about it. I've got no doubt he's super hungry at the moment, and he's saying, hey, I'm ready to go if you need me.
There's been a lot of talk about giving you more support in the coaching box. I know there are obviously potential changes every year at all clubs, but what's your take on the support you have around you from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, I've got the highest level of support from the group I'm working with at the moment, and unfortunately, when the results aren't going that way, that can be questioned. And we understand that, and we talk openly about that as a coaching group, that we need to improve. And we often look at what's going on the grass on the weekend and say, oh, we need this and we don't have that as a supporter base. But we're looking at ourselves as a coaching group, trying to find out what we can do, how we can be better for our players. You always look internally first, look at yourself, how can you be better? And we've been doing that right throughout the year, trying to improve.
For the situation you're in terms of results, you seem relatively positive and you keep saying that you're not far away. It feels like you've been saying that for a lot of this season. Is there a chance the club have got your head in the sand in terms of where you're at and where this list and where things are heading?
There's always a belief there. I have a belief in what we're doing. And so I'm not stuck in that sort of day-to-day. There's a longer-term view, and I'm positive about the group we have together. I'm really confident in where the footy club's heading. At the moment, we've had a half season where we haven't got results. The outcomes at the end of games haven't been where we need them. And we know in amongst that there's 4 or 5 that as we improve and as we gain experience, we're going to get across the line in those games. We have to. And that's where we've got to improve and where we've got to be better. I don't believe we need wholesale changes, but we'll keep looking internally. As I said, we'll all look at ourselves and we'll all look to be better. And we'll continue to look outside to what can make us better.
You must know though you can't repeat in the second half of the year what you have in the first half. You need to see an uptick, don't you?
We want to get back to what our best footy is, and that'll look after results. I'd say the last 3 weeks haven't been at the level that we need to be at. We're going to make sure we turn that around. That's the challenge for us second half of the year.
Last couple of weeks.
Let's touch on GWS quickly. Why have they given you so much trouble over the
Yeah, they have here, especially at our home ground. One we're not going to shy away from this week. They're a very good side, and if you don't bring the contest, they've got the execution, the skill, the talent on the field to really punish you. And they've done that to us, unfortunately, the last 2 or 3 times we've played here at AO. So sometimes it's a nice way to come into a game knowing that a team's done that to you, and our guys will come out with that edge that we talked about last week. We know we've got to bring, and then the challenge for us is to be able to do it for 4 quarters.
Identified for a few weeks opposition momentum being a real issue in terms of getting runs and goals. Haven't necessarily been able to fix it. Do you think? Are you confident you can now after that?
Well, it's an area we're working on, and we're going pretty hard on it. What levers can we pull in those moments? How can we step up as a group? Working on small triggers of how we can get that done. There are challenges in today's game around structure and what you can do for centre bounces, and if it's not necessarily working for you in CB, which is an area that we have to improve on, it does make it hard to I guess, implement some of those plans or modes of play. On the weekend, we had some free kicks off ball, we get a double shot on goal, and so momentum, when you add fuel to a fire that's raging in a team like Sydney, it does make it hard. As I mentioned before, we did see him come out and do it again the next week, so we know that what we're up against, but we have to be better in that space.
Can we expect to see a bit more Max in the midfield this week?
There's a few other challenges that are out on the field this week as well that some would say, well, what are you going to do with Max? What are you going to try to stop this week? That's what I love about the way he plays his footy. He's a warrior. He loves the battle. Thought he did a really strong job in that last week. Just his intent, but there are a couple other areas too that the Giants have that may mean he's not in the midfield.